What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and we've got a very special unboxing for you guys today, and that is of the Oppo R11. Now this device has been quite interesting for a lot of you for a few reasons, not only because of the new features that this offers, but also because this looks a lot like another recent device that's come out, and that is the OnePlus 5. So when we initially had the first leaked renders of the OnePlus 5, I was one of the first to mention that it looked quite a bit like the Oppo R11, which had just been announced a few weeks ago, and I had seen some billboards of it while I was out in China. Now this does make sense because Oppo is a parent company to OnePlus, so there is likely to be some exchange going on in between them. But let's go ahead and get this unboxed. We'll see what we get inside, and then we'll compare it to the OnePlus 5 to see how similar they actually are. So at the front, we've got the Oppo logo R11. There is the image. This is the gold version on the box, but it's actually the black version that I have inside. Beauty made clearer, dual 20 megapixel cameras, so that's quite interesting. On the left and right hand side, we have the Oppo logo, and at the back, we have dual rear camera, so this has 20 megapixels and 16 megapixels. Seems very similar to what we've already seen on the OnePlus 5. 20 megapixel front-facing camera, so that's quite different. 4 gigabytes of RAM with 64 gigabytes of storage. And the VOOC or VOOC, I don't know how to say it, flash charge, so that's super fast charging. Now getting right into the box with this overly excessive knife. Plastic out the way. Okay, this is a very tight sleeve. Sleeve gone, and then we've got the clear OnePlus box. Did I just say OnePlus box? Sorry. Oppo box. Anyway. And there we have it. The Oppo R11 in black. Wow, that already looks very, very similar. We'll come back to this in just a second while we look at what else we get in the box. So there's a SIM card ejector tool here right away. And then we have the charger. So this is actually a UK charger, which is really cool. As mentioned, this does support fast charging, which is great. And then we have a cable, which is actually USB to micro USB. So that's the first difference right away. We don't have USB Type-C, it's micro USB. And there are also some headphones in here, which are packed really nicely. Cool. And in this little case here, we have a nice clear case, which is always a nice touch. So this is a soft sort of silicone case. Then we have the important information guide and also a quick guide. So let's get this out the plastic. Wow. It also has a pre-applied screen protector. That does look nice, I have to say. So let's go ahead and pull out the OnePlus 5. And as you guys can see, these two look very, very similar. The whole setup, the design is very similar. The antenna bands are slightly different, as you may be able to tell. We've got sort of a double line here going on the Oppo. Obviously, we've got the Oppo logo on the R11. There's a OnePlus logo on the OnePlus 5. The dual camera setup as well looks very similar. We've got a bit more of a raise on the Oppo R11, and that is because it's a slimmer device overall, around 6.8 millimeters compared to 7.25, but they feel very, very similar in the hand. Now from the front, these two look pretty much identical. There's a 5.5-inch display, which is full HD Amoled, so the same here. Now we've got an earpiece at the front, which looks slightly different, and then there is a fingerprint scanner, which is capacitive on both of these. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch this on while we are going through the features. Now the front-facing camera is actually 20 megapixels with an f2.0 aperture. We've got 16 megapixels on the OnePlus 5, so that's another difference here. You can see the Oppo logo loading up. And another thing to also mention is that we've got Color OS on here. That's on top of Android compared to Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 5. Oxygen OS much closer to Android, stock Android, compared to what we have on Color OS. Now we also have some differences around the device. On top there is a mic on the Oppo R11, not on the OnePlus 5. On the bottom we have the speakers in the same place. There's also a headphone jack, there's a mic, but we have USB Type-C versus micro USB on the R11. On the left hand side we have two separate volume buttons, up and down, on the Oppo R11. On the OnePlus 5, we've got a volume rocker, as well as the alert slider, which is unique to OnePlus. Now, on the right-hand side, we have the power button in roughly the same place, and then we have the SIM card tray. Now, on the Oppo R11, you can have either dual SIM cards like you can on the OnePlus 5, but you can also have a SIM card as well as a micro SD card, so you can expand the storage on this. You've got 64 gigabytes here as a base. On the OnePlus 5, you get either 64 or 128 gigabyte versions. You do not get expandable storage on the OnePlus 5. Now, on the back here is the dual camera setup. As far as I'm aware, this is pretty much exactly the same. So we've got a 20 megapixel telephoto lens, which is going to give you the zoom, and that has an f2.6 aperture, as well as a primary camera, which is 16 megapixels with an f1.7 aperture. Now, another reason why the Oppo R11 is slightly thinner is because it has a slightly smaller battery, 3000 mAh versus 3300 mAh on the OnePlus 5. And that's also probably why it's slightly lighter, only 3 grams between these two. So we can already see that these are very similar overall, but you do have some minor differences. You can think of these as brother and sister. There's also quite a few differences on the internals. The R11 with the Snapdragon 660, we've got the Snapdragon 835 on the OnePlus 5. 4 gigabytes of RAM here on the Oppo R11, the OnePlus 5 with either 6 or even 8 gigabytes of RAM, so almost double the RAM. So the OnePlus 5 definitely geared more towards people who are going to be using this for lots of intensive apps and gaming and things. But the Oppo R11 still should be pretty good with the Snapdragon 660. Neither of these are certified water and dust resistant, and we've got Bluetooth 4.2 on the R11, there's Bluetooth 5.0 on the OnePlus 5, and we've just finished booting this up. So straight away you can see that the interface is quite different. It is Color OS. Now that's going to come down to your personal preference. Finally, I'm not sure what the pricing is. I'll try to leave some links in the description below. As far as I'm aware, you're going to be paying slightly less for the Oppo R11 compared to the OnePlus 5. So guys, that is the Oppo R11 with a very quick comparison to the OnePlus 5. Both very interesting devices, both feel very similar and look very similar, but there are some differences as you've seen. What do you think of the Oppo R11? Is there anything more you'd like me to cover with it? Definitely let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. If you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe and switch on notifications. We've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.